This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience.
David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it. There are a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family. The easy way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing this evening, day, whenever you listen to this. On the Auburn Experience podcast, episode 179. I'm your host, as always, the sunshine pumpy one, Kyle Loomis. Alongside me, the guy that is probably not as sunburned as he was last week, that co-host, Mr. Austin Scott. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you so much. War Eagle to you, War Eagle to our viewers and listeners. Not sunburned as much. Didn't really spend a lot of time in the sun this weekend on Independence Day, 250th anniversary of our nation's independence weekend. But had a great weekend, and hope you did too.
We celebrated at Auburn style over here. It was just my imagination, I know, but it felt like every firework I saw in the sky was orange and blue, just like every sunset is completely orange and blue, because as we know, he says very blasphemously, God's an Auburn fan. So that's just how things work.
The fireworks did have an orange hue to them. The red was a little brighter this year. I noticed that as well.
Just a tidbit. I mean, when you're doing your semi-quincentennial, what a word.
Oh, good job.
Certain practice from certain other organizations, have been letting me listen to that over the last couple of days. Listen, that's an interesting little name, but 250 years of the United States. Can't believe it. Think about that, Austin. You and I obviously didn't live through the bicentennial, but we've lived through the semi-quincentennial. And I just hate to break it to you, but there is probably odds aren't in our favor that we will see the tricentennial, if that's what it's called when we get there. I mean, just think about that if that gets you real morbid.
Yeah, that crossed my mind a couple times this weekend. Tricentennial, I'd be 80. So I feel like
I'd be 90.
Odds are better than you that I'd make it there. But you never know. I think I have twin children that make me decrease my lifespan every day. So you never know how long I'll go.
You do have more gray hair than me.
Lots.
I'm just gonna throw. I
do have more hair. Period.
That's fair. I set you up. That was like a softball. I set you up for it. I was hoping that you saw it, and you did. So well done, sir. Listen, I think we all have reasons why we may be aging. And look, one of those is just being an Auburn athletics fan, because even when it's great, man, those lows will just bring you that roller coaster ride, as we always talk about.
That's what's going to kill us all anyway. Let's just be honest. It really doesn't matter.
There will not be any of the Auburn fans right now alive for the tricentennial, simply because the fact they're Auburn fans. And listen, we wouldn't change a dang thing. And if you would, you're not a true Auburn fan. So listen, it is what it is at this point. Buck up and enjoy the ride, because it is quite interesting there. Did you? I had somebody asking me this, and I think I got the official word, but I'll ask the Auburn resident. What's the situation for fireworks in the Auburn area, the Opelika area? What's any that you're aware of, even if you didn't partake in them?
Yeah, I was not in town for them, but have done it before. My church has a great viewing area of the show. So on the Friday night before, this year it was Friday night on the 3rd, Opelika does their show or performance or whatever you want to call it. They do a really great job from all I've heard. I've never seen it in person, but I've heard lots of people talk about it. I think it's more of a festival or more of a event with lots of things. Sure. Food trucks and whatnot out there in the town square. And then Auburn does theirs at the Auburn High School football stadium, Duck Samford Park. And people just kind of park in the mall parking lot. I'm over on the other side at Lakeview. And then just the general area, that's a pretty flat area, so you can see it from about a half mile around radius around Duck Sanford Park. So it's good. I've always good. I've seen some. I wasn't there this year, so I can't speak to it. But I've seen some things that people did. It wasn't their preference this year, but
okay.
I've always thought it's a good show.
Hey, listen, I guess to each their own. I'm just wondering when we're finally going to get the university doing its own fireworks show, because let's be honest, at this point, with all the upgrades to the stadium and the places that you can sit around and on campus and get a decent view of the stadium and its structures, I just think it's primed for that to become the center piece of the Auburn, fireworks show. And we want to support the town, all that stuff, and let them do their own thing. Everything. They're their own entities, but obviously they're very well connected. Listen, the fireworks show we saw after the soccer match, where they had everything timed out and everything coming out. Why are we not doing this yet? I mean, I sound like one of these grumpy people on Facebook who's like, why are we doing this yet? I'm just asking in general.
Why isn't Ella Langley playing Jordan Hare? I think that
we're going to bring that up.
I'm with you though. I've kind of been tooting that horn for about a couple months because of the 250th. I'm like, if this is the year to do it, like if you're going to have an extra show, we were in Birmingham and saw Thunder on the Mountain. And I feel like that they added a little bit more to that this year in downtown Birmingham. And so I was saying, if you're going to do it up and move things over to the university and Jordan Hare and make it a little bit more big time, this was the year to do it. And that didn't happen. But I'm with you. I think that maybe when the stadium gets done, maybe when you've got the full autonomy of everything you can do in a finished Jordan Hare North, maybe that's the move.
That may be the move, as they say, or as my friend Jameis Winston once told me, if you're going to do it big, then.
There you go.
Who
would have thought way back then that Jameis would be on the show?
I listened, odds were probably not in his favor because he was considering somebody else, from what I understand. But he made it somewhere. He's made it in a lot of ways, but he made it on an Auburn a podcast here at the very least. Yeah, listen, I would love for Auburn to do something like that. I think it would work really well. And I think there would be a lot of interest, obviously, for it. And then to tie everything in a nice little bow, Austin, we could officially have just orange and blue fireworks. Even though it's about America and red, white, and blue, I get it. Let's just make the red a little bit more orange than anything else this year. And then we throw on top of that a drone show at the same time, all together. And then, we'll just be everybody will be jealous of all the things that Auburn can do.
Why
with
not?
Their structures. Why not, man? Why not? All right. Well, that's it. We hope you had a great 4th of July talk. Wanted to at least cover all of that. One last thing, though, because you brought it up and you stirred this up. I'm taking you peruse some of the responses to the Ella Langley post that we made this week.
I've perused ours. It's just been nonstop and on anywhere and everywhere you look. People just cannot get over themselves.
I cannot for the life of me understand why some people think that they have figured everything out and that it is just so simple to just do these things and just
put your money where your mouth is, then, folks. Pony up and we'll get it. Pony up and we'll get it in Jordan Hare. You pay the bill.
For people that say it's so easy to do this, I'm just wondering when we're going to get them to foot some bills, when we're going to get them to jump in and lead.
I'll tell you what, charge. Man. Bring it on.
Bring it on. That's what I'm saying. Listen. We talked about it last week. If you haven't checked out that clip where we discussed Ella Langley decided she was going to do a small 2-night concert, I guess by some people's too small. I think we're probably not far off from something to that effect and larger, as we alluded to, happening in the future, probably involving her. But either way, I promise you, it's just not as simple as some of you think it is. Go check that out if you haven't.
Welcome to a new era of baseball's great spectacle, the T-Mobile Home Run Derby, live on Netflix. The biggest sluggers in baseball put their talents to the test on All-Star Weekend. Raw power meets star power. Big swagger meets bigger slams. And you don't swing to make contact. You swing to make history. Watch the T-Mobile Home Run Derby live on Netflix, Monday, July 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
All right, let's get into things this week. We've got potpourri main topics as always. So let's start right there with our Auburn potpourri of the week. And we're going to start with, it's like a double story here, but we're going to start with the first part of it. We love to talk about Auburn in the pros and how they're doing. Certainly some games are going on right now in terms of baseball and stuff like that. Basketball is basketball is going on still? I can't remember. I don't follow the NBA all that much.
Yes and no. The summer league has started, so some of our guys are playing more. There was actually some Auburn on Auburn crime.
I saw that. I'm actually. Let's talk about that. So, Dylan, my buddy, chill out. That was your brother. You did that too. I mean, goodness gracious, that clip is literally like minutes old of us going live on this show. If you don't know what we're talking about. Dylan Carwell just went absolutely AWOL. I don't even know if that's the right word to use there. Just going nuts on Chaney, dunking on him in the summer league. I mean, yeah. We love Dylan here endlessly, but come on Auburn crime, man, settle down a little bit.
He went big on him and got him, and that's fresh off Chaney, I think, signing a new deal with the Nets, and so they faced off here in summer league, and man, Dylan got the best of him. But good to see Dylan playing in summer league. I mean, I think he kind of burst on the scene this year, and sometimes once you make it big, these guys decide not to play summer league, but it's still just a sophomore in his NBA career, and so he's playing summer league, and Chaney's obviously done really well. I think surprised a lot of folks too, and man, Dylan put him on a poster.
He really did. So love you, Chaney. Love you, Dylan. Let's stop that Auburn on Auburn crime, though. I mean, we can't be having that type of stuff going on in the NBA. But the news that we want to talk about, and it made a lot of headlines in the NBA spaces this week, is Walker Kessler. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Austin. I try my best to keep with our guys in the pros. Doing this show helps me do that to some extent, but I'd kind of lost track of Walker a little bit. I think he had an injury.
He's been hurt. Yeah, he's been dealing with some injuries.
So that even adds to what we're just about to talk about here, the fact that he was able to get a new deal with the Los Angeles Lakers that is pretty, from what I understand, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Austin, pretty substantial in the way of a 4-year, $130 million deal to go in a trade from the Jazz to go play with the Lakers. There's some swaps or deals for picks and things like that for him. Walker Kessler going to the LA Lakers. Obviously would love to hear your opinion about it. Just to be honest, it's a little bit of a struggle for me. I grew up hating the Lakers. So, once again, I gotta swallow my pride from my Auburn folks. But what do you think about that? It sounds like a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I don't keep up with the NBA too much, but I've got some friends that do, and it keeps me in tune just enough. But it's kind of been something that with Walker that's been alluded to for a couple years now. It felt like the Lakers have always viewed him as the one that they could get in a trade or as somewhere he'd likely end up. His trade value with the Jazz, I think, has been very high, no matter whether it's injury or not. Didn't get to play a lot this year because of an injury. But the Lakers trade for him shortly after LeBron announces he's not staying with the Lakers. And sorry, excuse me. That sounded bad. I don't know what that was. Restart where we are.
LeBron
left, yes. And so the Lakers started making all these moves. One of their big ones right there was getting Walker Kessler to come over, and they immediately inked him to a big deal. So really cool to see Walker getting, I think, just like Dylan and Chaney, obviously had a very successful career at Auburn. Wasn't one of the top picks in the draft when he came out, but automatically burst onto the scene with the Jazz. Now moves on to the Lakers, gets a big payday. And he's going to Hollywood, so the lights are always brighter.
Yeah, listen, however you get there doesn't really matter, just the fact that you got to this point. And that's what a lot of people were talking about, the money and the value. I think that speaks to him. I thought I saw a tweet from someone that laid out the current Auburn guys and their deals, and I think this puts him ahead of Jabari, if I understood that correctly.
Yeah, just recently, I think.
Just recently. So with those two playing together at Auburn, going to the NBA together, Jabari was vying for the Player of the Year, and Walker ends up getting the Defensive Player of the Year. Like probably that second best award, not second best, but you understand what I'm saying in terms of profile. It's really interesting to see the dynamic the two have had. Like in going to pro at the same time, playing at the same time, and they've kind of been trading. Who gets what, when, and all that stuff. So Auburn in terms of representations, doing very well in the NBA when you talk about like Dylan rising up, all that kind of stuff, others getting deals. I love to see this. I will learn to stomach trying to be okay with the Lakers winning. It's just something that was ingrained in me back when I used to follow the NBA. It is weird to have Walker so far away, knowing that he's from the Georgia area, but
it's a long way.
They called him center of the future is what a lot of people. So I don't know if that means he's like expected to be the starter right away or if he's whatever, but happy for him. We're also happy for him in a different way, because if it wasn't good enough to start your week with getting a multi-million-dollar deal over several years with the Los Angeles Lakers, you want to talk about Hollywood. He went officially Hollywood with making his relationship with Auburn, former Tiger Paw nursing student, I believe, and the former Miss America, Abby Stockard. They are now engaged. We have talked about this before, how cool this is, and I think we termed them the Auburn power couple of the day. I think this pretty much solidifies it. Obviously, you walk down the aisle, all that kind of stuff. But to be completely honest with you, Austin, I thought they were already engaged. My wife brought it to my attention. She's like, "You saw they got engaged." Right? I was like, "I'll be honest with you. I told someone on a live stream this week they're already engaged." But congrats to them.
Yeah, congrats to them. My sister actually texted me this because she was also a nursing student, and I want to say her and Abby were in the same sorority together. But Miss Alabama, then Miss America, and I remember us when we covered when Walker was watching from afar when she won Miss America, and what a cool video that was out there, and that was kind of what burst them on the scene as the potential talk of the Auburn power couple world, and here they are. She's set to become Miss Abby Kessler, so really exciting. I bet it didn't hurt that he's fresh off a multi-million-dollar deal for him to pay for that ring, and so that probably helps. But really exciting for them, and I'm sure there'll be some Auburn flair in that wedding whenever that time comes.
Oh, there's got to be. If they're gonna hold true to this label that frankly we've given them, they didn't ask for it, but the Auburn power couple, they've got to have some Auburn flair in that. And it's interesting to see because she was the Hollywood one first, in a sense, with star power and stuff, and will probably continue to be. But now he's even becoming that with going to the Lakers, his deal, all that kind of stuff. It's just a cool story, and I love to see it. So hopefully we'll be having a little bit of an Auburn wedding here very soon. Congrats to Abby and congrats to Walker for their big week that they are having. That's some good news, Austin. However, we always tell you all, it's important that you watch what we do live. It's also important that you catch the replays and things like that too. But what often happens when we go live together here on this show, when I go live, things just happen. Maybe that's just because of the amount of times we go live places. I don't know. That could just be part of it. But about 30 minutes after episode 178 was in the can, maybe not even, we got news of something. Well, how long was it?
I think it was even closer. We just saw it. It might have been as we were going off air, and I think we just saw it late. But yeah, I'm almost glad we didn't see it until after all was said and done.
Stay later.
Yeah, it would have been a sad note to end the show on.
Yes, it would have. The news, and it's sad news for Auburn, good news for this individual. Former now head coach Leroy Burrell for track and field, fresh off of really enhancing what Auburn track and field has been over the last several years, decided he was going to pick it up and head back to Texas. This time, instead of Houston, he was going to go to the Aggies. The Aggies have poached our head track and field coach. So, Austin, I think when we shared the information as it came available, there's a lot of a concern maybe, but things like that. But what are you thinking in terms of why this decision was made? We're not him. We can only speculate. But what's going on there with Coach Leroy?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that my first initial thought was one that, he spent all his time at Houston. That's his alma mater, spent, I think, over 20-something years there. We talked about when he was hired just a few years ago, how big of a deal it was that he was leaving. There were some family situations that he opened up about that he certainly didn't need to, but opened up about that made it time for his family kind of leave the Houston area and just reset and he certainly did that at Auburn. I think they loved their time here, and obviously we loved having them here because they did a phenomenal job. We're great ambassadors for Auburn University, and then, like you said, enhanced the track and field program immensely
in a short amount of time, too.
In a very short amount of time, and not an easy feat when you think about all the different apparatuses that go into that. But and I think you can see that some in his statement with Texas A&M. It feels like he's at a point to get back home and feels like it's a good time after some rest and time away, that he's ready to move back closer to family in Texas. And so I hate it for Auburn. I really do. I feel like that track and field program has been very, very, very fun to be around and watch while he's been here. And I hope that remains the case now as his departure and as he becomes a conference foe.
Yes, and it pains us a little bit when they go to SEC opponents. It's not in Alabama, it's not in Georgia. It is a little bit further away in the SEC. But obviously he has earned whatever opportunities he gets and choose to take, especially from what he's done in his full career. But here at Auburn, his career as a sprinter himself. So he is building himself quite the legacy and did so here at Auburn, coming within like a point, I think is what it was, of the national title for the men. Almost did it again one other time, and then a top 4 and 5, 6 of finish for the men. Had some success on the women's side too. And we'll be talking about one of his other successes here in just a second for a different part of the show. But I think one of the things about this, Austin, it's a little unsettling for people. I saw a lot of this week was when people started to connect this with something's wrong with Auburn. And that might be the case. It could be, but no one knows that. But I think I'd be very careful with that speculation. People are jumping to things like, well, lots of other programs are getting rid of Olympic sports. This is just a sign that he was getting out of Dodge in time. I think with some of the stuff that you brought up here, clearly it's probably a stronger case that it's more his own personal decision rather than something of that nature. It is kind of in the middle of the night where there hasn't really been much of a public acknowledgement of this transition from Auburn. So I think some of that is a little bit concerning for people. My caution to people would be, just let things kind of play out. Don't jump to conclusions until there's some facts, things like that. Can I remind you, they just spent a lot of money resurfacing that facility. And that was primarily because they were going to host the SEC championships, which they did a phenomenal job of. But I think I would just kind of, you think it's fair just to tell people to hit the button just a little bit, and slow down?
Well, gosh, if in so many ways, in every show, we should probably say that. But I think that I like you said, I can see the part where you might be concerned about that because of the state of college athletics. As if we saw Arkansas have decided to scrap their tennis program only to come back a few weeks later and say, never mind. And I just think that in this, I think you're going to see more of that from programs in the NCAA sphere. I just don't. Arkansas was the highest profile, and I don't think you're going to see that on a large scale with the type of programs like Auburn is and other SEC schools. But track and field specifically, I just don't, like Kyle said, there's been some money invested. There's been time invested in it. I truly, truly think this was just a personal thing for Coach Leroy Burrell and his family. And I think people want to make it a bigger deal than it is by saying there's something wrong with Auburn. Personally, I don't mean this in any way. I obviously love Auburn, and I'm doing a show every week with Kyle about the Auburn experience. But I do think, too, that there's in the era that we're in of NIL, obviously, if you look at Texas A&M, there's money. There's some money, right? They've had the daggum #1 football recruiting class for like every year, and it doesn't always pan out, but
sure.
I mean, every year. And so I think, too, that has to play a factor when obviously Auburn has money too, and A&M has money, but if it's one less thing to kind of worry about as the head coach in this day and age, you might as well take an opportunity. But more than anything, it was closer to home, and I think that adds an element here. And that saying there's something wrong with Auburn in this sense, and pointing to this as the main reason, is just Chicken Little and the sky falling for me.
Yeah, it is.
I don't believe it.
It is. And hopefully we'll get some information soon about maybe that or acknowledgement of it. That would go a long way. So we don't really have anything to go with. If you're wondering where we might go in terms of a head coach, couldn't really tell you. Saw some people throw out an assistant's name that's, had a lot of success with an individual here that could be a great option, but we'll see. So that's the news. It is sad news for Auburn. It's good news for Coach Leroy Burrell. Congrats to him. Thank you for what he did here at Auburn. Certainly in a short amount of time, very much warranting of that thanks and congrats to him. Now, the
World Cup is back and Football Weekly is going daily. From the goals and the glory to the politics and the problems, join me, Max Rushton, and our expert panel every day of the tournament. World Cup Daily, listen on Spotify now and watch the full episodes on YouTube.
When it's time to scale your business, it's time for Shopify. Get everything you need to grow the way you want. Like, all the way. Stack more sales with the best converting checkout on the planet. Track your cha-chings from every channel, right in one spot. And turn real-time reporting into big-time opportunities. Take your business to a whole new level. Switch to Shopify. Start your free trial today.
good, and plus it's going to be good news for track and field, but then it's going to be also kind of sad news again. So it's just kind of like back and forth for this week. So if you've been listening to us, obviously we've been talking about track and field as much as we can. You've heard us and others talk about Jacoby Tharp. He has also had quite the week. That's what we've got a theme this week, Austin, of people having good weeks, like throughout. A lot of things going on for individuals in this off season. Jacoby Tharp, fresh off of national titles, things like it. Actually, you know what? I think I've got the whole list here pulled up. So let me just run through the whole dang thing for you. Four-time national champion, four-time SEC champion, world record holder, as we've just recently talked about, two-time collegiate record holder, two-time Bowerman finalist, two-time USTF CCCA male runner of the year, USATF. Wow, so many acronyms.
So many acronyms.
Champion. We're looking at I feel a very similar situation with Mr. Jacoby Tharp being in Jackson Coiven territory. If you were so dominant for the time that you were here, the discussion might be over about, where your place is in a lot of these things. I think that's fair to say, right? Yeah, no, I think that's a good comparison and one that probably just doesn't get quite the higher profile. But on this show, certainly we talk about him as I feel like every year, especially around in the summertime. Mm-hmm.
But he's certainly we always like to watch and see what they do after they leave Auburn. But just like Jackson, like you said, there's not much more you can do but wrap a bow on this thing. Right. And so here's the first part of it. He is obviously, as we mentioned here, a Bowerman finalist, one of three people. There's an Alabama runner in there too. So surely this won't get interesting. He did already win the fan vote, which will get him one vote towards the Bowerman. So that's a good start to that. Surely we've seen awards messed up recently in other sports, but when you're a world record holder, this should be pretty cut and dry. Now, here's the crazy thing. I don't know if you remember this. They don't give this thing out till December. So we will have to literally wait for 6 months, almost 5 months. How does that make sense? I don't know. I thought it's a lead into indoor track and field season because that's kind of about the time that they do it. I don't know. Good grief. I don't know. But the good news is that he is once again up for it, and hopefully will win this, and that'll be, I think, Auburn's first, I believe, in that particular award. Here's the sad part. He had such a great time here at Auburn, so successful. He decided to pack it up and go pro. Not seems to kind of be happening right now here in the track and field program, doesn't it? It's not surprising, but still sad. I think that's what we have with Jackson Coiven too. That as we continue to make the comparisons. Sure. That was the funny part is that they both have been so successful during their time here. It's like, well, do you want to do one more run? Nah, they're going to go pro, which is understandable. And best of luck to him. And it'll be fun to capture his pro career and continue to follow him and see if more of those world records can come down. Yeah, I think he signed with Adidas. He's probably going to be preparing for the Olympics, all that kind of stuff. So we're not done talking about him. We'll talk about him as a pro, all that kind of stuff too. And you'll probably be hearing from him at those particular levels. It just kind of adds the story. And let's be honest, if there was a chance of him coming back with his head coach deciding to go a different route too, that's probably going to not help the situation of potentially staying. Unless you never know. I don't know. Either way.
congrats to him for being a Bowerman finalist again. Hopefully he'll win it, and congrats to his career. Thank you for representing Auburn here and doing a great job of that on the track for the track and field program. Last bit of information here. We'll probably have time to cover in potpourri. Can you guess, Austin, what we're going to talk about here yet again on the show?
Another football commit, if I had to guess.
You seem sad about that. Are you just done talking about?
No, it's great. It's great news. It's just like we need to carve out another bullet point over here on our little itinerary for insert football commit here.
It's just going to be like a little sliver of something right there. Commit right there, for as the phrase has been going for weeks and months now, it feels like across all of summer and late spring for Coach Golesh. Golesh is on a heater. I mean, like, people cannot say that enough. And I'm like, can we just get a new phrase? Being on a heater is falling into the category of elite and other phrases like that for me.
He hates these phrases.
Can we just not regurgitate the same things over and over again?
He wants a thesaurus. He wants everyone to have a thesaurus.
Come on. Let's not be, look, we know more words than Bama fans. Let's use them. So here's your new commitment for Auburn football for their 2027 class. Depending on which sites you look at, probably in the 4-star range. Edge rusher MJ Evans has committed to Auburn. He's sitting somewhere in the range of 6'4", 260-ish pounds, deciding to come be part of the Auburn 2027 class. A lot of other teams that were potentially in the running: Tennessee, Miami, South Carolina. This one had a lot of people excited this week with him publicly committing to Auburn. And I think if I remember correctly, he almost did the thing where University of Auburn, I think he swapped it up at the last thing. So pretty good commitment and commitment video with him getting it right, apparently.
Yes, yeah, big commit. One I think people have kind of been leaning toward for a while. And obviously seems like one of those, another big edge rusher or defensive lineman that can attack the quarterback and DJ Durkin's defense. So that seems to be a theme so far this summer, with a lot of defensive line, a lot of bulking up the line. I know that makes our friend Hunter real happy in our Conquer Club. But just lots of bulking up the offensive line and lots of just big dudes ready to get after it. So, and he did correct himself by saying Auburn University and not University of Auburn. We always like to see that. Do you know why he did that though, Kyle?
Why did he do that?
Because he has a good education. He's from a Blue Ribbon High School in Spain Park High School,
I
Alabama.
knew this is where we were going.
Spain Park High School, baby. Go Jags. He will probably supersede me now as the best Auburn product out of Spain Park High School in Birmingham. So congrats to MJ Evans. And he's got some work to do, but I look forward to giving him the top spot here soon.
Marquise is his given name, if you're interested, but goes by MJ, it seems, on there. So
yes.
Very excited to have him part of this class. Just scrolling through the 2027 class right now. I believe I saw at least one more edge rusher, who we've talked about recently, James Pace. That one comes from that weird pipeline, up there in the DMV area. This one from Spain Park, Alabama, Birmingham. This is where you got to take care of these things. Spain. I know you couldn't stop talking about that enough. You don't see me talking about the great prospects that came out of Macon East Montgomery Academy and me being the number one.
You name them. Name them for me, Kyle.
I'm gonna give. I am gonna. John Martin. John Martin went to. He went to UT Martin and play. He was our running back and strong safety. But anyway, there you go. We made this about us. What it's about MJ. Your next commitment in the 2027 class and bulking up that offensive line, interior, and the edge for Coach DJ, if I can get the word out, Durkin.
¿Qué hule? ¿Me extrañaron? Aquí tienen a Aurelio.
Esta es la saga más famosa de la televisión hispana.
Soy indestructible, imparable.
Y su banda sonora se escribe con balas.
Me gusta que te vean, que te aplaudan. Y eso está bien. Alguien tiene que ser el payaso. Pero cuando falles, que vas a fallar, no va a haber segunda vuelta.
Hoy vas a pagar con sangre. El Señor de los Cielos. Temporada final. Martes 7 de julio a las 9:08 Centro por Telemundo y Peacock.
Whether it's a movie night or just midday, Skinny Pop is a salty snack that keeps on giving. Made with just 3 simple ingredients for an irresistibly delicious taste and a large serving size that lasts. Deliciously popped, perfectly salted. Skinny Pop, popular for a reason. Shop Skinny Pop now.
All right, main topic time for us, sir. In the summer, we like to do some fun topics. We've been doing Rushmores and looking at the North End Zone project, and that's going to continue. But we've got a fun little debate-ish. I don't know if I don't think we could consider this a debate more than let's get on the same page about what criteria would be for this certain thing. One of the biggest topics that just comes up from the time to time when a particular name comes up and how they should be honored is their number, their jersey should be retired. The hot button topic before it happened was Cam Newton. Thankfully, that one's been settled recently. And I think it could be a good benchmark for how we approach this. But I think it would be good for us, Austin, to put officially down here in audio format our criteria for when you should be, when, how, whatever, you should be eligible to have your number, your jersey retired at Auburn. So I think we could walk through that, talk through it, maybe even debate it a little bit with some of our time right now. I think it would be wise, though, Austin, for our starting reference point. Would you like me to go through a list of every single one of the retired jerseys at this point? I got it all ready for you, so I guess we need to.
Let's do it.
if we do that. Here is all your retired, and most people probably know these by heart, most of them. You're going to have, these are football, Cam Newton, number 2, Pat Sullivan, number 7, Bo Jackson, 34, Terry Beasley, 88. Men's basketball, 11, Wesley Person, 15, John Mingelt, 30, Mike Mitchell, 32, Rex Frederick, 34, Charles Barkley, 45, Chuck Person. Women's basketball, 21, Carolyn Jones, 24, very recently, DeWanna Bonner, 25, Ruthie Bolton, 34, Becky Jackson, 50, Vicky Orr. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. Those are the official retired. And I went on a discussion with this about our good friend Clint, whether this is an official retirement or not. And he claims it is, but no reference anywhere. Does anyone count the Wall of Fame, Austin, as an official jersey number retirement? Do you have anything that disagrees with that?
With baseball?
With baseball, do you find any way to disagree with that officially, or what's your take on that?
No, I mean, I think that, it's kind of, in my eyes, it's kind of similar to Cam for the longest time, where it was like, we haven't done the thing, but it's not going to happen. Nothing's official because there's no statue or there's no name on the side of the stadium, but it's an unsaid thing.
Sure. But if you want to count them for this purpose, number 2, Frank Thomas, number 14, Dave Winfield, 16, Tim Hudson, 25, Mark Bellhorn, 32, Scott Sullivan. I feel like this list got a little bit out of whack. 34, Josh Donaldson. I think that might be a couple of them off there based off.
Josh Donaldson's just number 4, right?
Yeah, this list. I don't know what this list is doing right here. This list I put together is a little bit weird. Anyway, the names were correct. How about that? So yeah, at least some of them were. That's got me really thrown off how that name got in my list. Interesting. All right, anyway, we've made our point. We've made our point is that the official ones are football, basketball, and women's basketball, baseball. So, Austin, how would you like to do this? Would you like to make a suggestion for a criteria? You got any for when and how someone should be retired at Auburn?
Yeah, sort of. First and foremost, I want to ask you, are you for retiring numbers? Like, are you totally for removing numbers from like the rotation of is that how you would prefer to honor someone the most? Like, let me give an example. And I don't mean anything by this school. They're the people I think of the most with this is like LSU gives certain numbers, certain special designations, right? Like I don't remember the exact, but number 7 is like, I think the best player or the voted on player of the captain of the team or something like that, or 18, 16 or something like that is like the best player from the state of Louisiana or something like that. Are you for that? Or are you for like completely no one's going to ever wear that again? Or are you more for like these numbers, you can wear them, but they mean something? Ole Miss has one that they bestow on someone each year that it means a little bit more to get to wear it.
I'd be fine with a mixture of some sorts, but I do believe that there are some numbers that should be so sacred because of their accomplishments that they should never be touched again. I think Bo Jackson is clearly that, as the greatest athlete of all time. I'm gonna stir some Georgia fans up with that one, but I think that is the clear-cut example of you cannot let anyone else touch that, because there will never be another Bo Jackson. There will never be a number 34 ever again, and there never should be. I'd be fine with a mixture though. And I assume that I'm jumping assumptions here, but like, would you feel the same way, or would you rather not retire?
No, I think so. I think I'm for retiring certain numbers, like you said, that like in my like feelings, like I would feel so strange seeing an Auburn player in 2026 wear number 34. Yeah. Or it would feel so weird to see someone wear number 2 again. Sure. So I think it, and that's kind of what we're going to discuss, I guess, is like what the parameters are that make that okay. But I also like the idea of some of these meaning something. This may be a bit of a hot topic conversation, but this is fresh off of his anniversary of his death. But back when Philip Lutzenkirchen died, I thought giving someone 43 and it meaning something, because of how revered he was, I was in favor of something like that. So, like you said, a mixture, I think, is what I would probably land on.
And I'm glad you brought that case up, because I think that's going to come up here, at least for me, about a discussion point. But let's start here with criteria. They have to go to Auburn. We agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How they say, let's find the common ground. Like, let's make sure, because we can't move past that. We can't go have a discussion.
We're not going to have a nationwide retiring of any number here.
Right. I'm guessing, because there's a really good example of it that just happened, but you'd also be okay with the criteria that they can be just here for a season and be retired. Is that given the level of what they did with that one season? Is that okay?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, 1 year obviously means you had less time to accomplish more things, but let's just talk about Cam, because he was here for 1 year. That's the most notable. He did it. He did it all. Did everything you could want in 1 year, and so therefore I think that he accomplished all he needed to in 1 year.
Yeah, I think that's it's the best example you have on these list of players that across these sports.
Who were you referring to?
Cam Newton in this.
Okay.
And just I just want to make sure that outside of that one specific, is they like the only outlier that we can allow in this, but it seems like you and I agree they can have been here for one season. I'm going to also throw this one out there to you for jersey retiring. Is it okay if they had such a great time here at Auburn, it's their numbers, their stats, their accomplishments are warranted of discussion of this, but they finished somewhere else? How would you feel about that?
Man, that's like
let me just throw something out here. Let's say Bo Nix had the greatest 3 years, and he got paid by Oregon to go there. We know that's not what happened. We couldn't block for to save our life, or any quarterback's life, so that's why he left.
Sure.
That's the best example I could give you in theory.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. I think that'd be hard to sit with.
That's a tough one for me.
It'd be, and I think then, I don't think other people place as much emphasis as you and I do in this, but Bo obviously graduated as well. And so you throw that element in there too, of like, well, what if they just leave and don't graduate? But what if they leave and do graduate?
If the graduate thing, though, gives me a little bit of pause to go, okay, I might be able to make peace with this if their accomplishments were worthy. But here's the thing, though. If your accomplishments were that great,
correct,
you're usually not going to take them somewhere else. But I feel like we gotta set this baseline here.
Sure, in this world of college athletics especially, but I do think that, like you said, we're playing ifs and ands and buts here, but I think that if that were to be the case, you would hope that wouldn't be a possibility. But we've seen guys every year who you're like, where are they transferring for? They've got it all.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to say no. I think I'm going to say I would not be okay with that. Especially just because like Bo went on to wear Oregon 10 at Oregon too. Like, it's like maybe if they switch number, I don't know. I'm picking and grasping at straws.
probably not going to have a scenario where that
Probably
happens, but I think it's important to lay the groundwork here. Do they have to be a champion of something to have their number retired? Here's an example. Bo was he was a champion of the SEC, but he wasn't a national champion until they rightfully fixed that. Like, where are we at? Let's just say some of these I don't think had any champions. Okay, so yeah, what would you say?
Yeah, no, I don't think that has to be like a required asterisk question required checkbox to have your number retired. I mean, I know there's going to be people that are on here, and so like championships are all that matter. Sure. But I think that there's a lot more that can be added to. Do they bolster your resume? Absolutely. Or your backing to get your number retired? Probably. But I don't think that it has to be a requirement.
Yeah, I think that's something you have to always consider really enhances and probably solidifies your case. But if you were a champion of something, you probably already had a really good case to begin with if we're having your discussions for that type of thing. So on champs of something, it's not a requirement. But again, we're talking about a list of accolades that have been put together, even if a true champion of a conference, division, whatever, isn't in there. But they tend to go hand in hand for the most part. It's kind of, we're just working through some of these things over here. This one's a tough one for me. And you brought it up earlier. And I acknowledge it can feel a little bit, I don't want to say icky, but like to talk about it this way. But there's this notion that should someone be given posthumously? Is that how you say it? how do you say
posthumously?
Posthumously, meaning they had passed away, the award simply because of how beloved they were. And I'm bringing up, I thought it was going to be uncomfortable when I wrote it down, but here I am doing it. Philip Lutzenkirchen. And we have not been remiss in saying how much we love Philip here and talk about his story a lot, but to me, that's a bit of an iffy one because
you're asking on if it's like, if you're saying it's okay to just do
because
it,
if they were lost in a tragedy or like if Philip's numbers, whatever, plus what we knew of him as a human being and how awesome he was, we're going hand in hand. This is not an iffy for me at all, but I think, his numbers are great. But I wouldn't be handing out a retirement for him just because of that. Gosh, oh man, I need to go.
Sure.
You talk for a minute.
No, I understand what you mean, and I think that it definitely has to be like a I think it would have to be almost as if like I don't know how to say this.
Isn't this uncomfortable? Sorry,
it is uncomfortable. I think just posthumously is almost like you're just doing it because it feels like a good thing to do, and it's kind of, especially as you get further on from time, as time goes on. But I'm trying to think of an example. Like, I think this could be just like our favorite radio show, and I could be totally butchering if this person's alive or not. But I think the NBA did that for Bill Russell.
Okay.
I want to say that like posthumously, everybody was. I could be totally wrong, unless you were already wearing it and like you didn't have to change, but you could not come in or change to his number. I want to say that happened. I could be completely wrong. I just want to say this: he could be alive. I'm just being very honest. Okay. But like, there's some parameter that's been set, and even still, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to have to be like a criteria for me of like,
okay.
I think I would like to see you be able to acknowledge your own number retirement. Well, that's very hard to discuss.
Yes, that's very hard to discuss. And I don't regret bringing it up, but I also do in the same moment.
But that is where I want to put a counterpoint. And what I was talking about earlier is I would not be opposed to some, because like, every year, and it's probably just because I was around that age when, like, I remember it every year I can point out and know, oh, they get to wear 43 this year. Like, that's pretty cool. So, like, I wonder what their story is.
Well, and to me, let me go back to your point you made earlier. That's a situation where I think that's the number that gets honored, doesn't retired, but you have to earn 43. Like, that doesn't.
And that might be the case.
Yeah.
But for maybe it was for when Gus was coach or someone like that might be an interior thing that I don't know about. I totally want to put that out there. I'm sure get that number, given what is known about that number inside that complex, that doesn't just get handed out. I'd be very surprised if that's the case. But I don't think it's ever been like said officially, hey, this guy gets to be Kyle Loomis gets to be number 43 this year because we think he embodies the traits Phillip used to and the Live Like Lutzy campaign promotes so much. I would be so in favor of that being an official thing if it's not already.
Yeah, it would be great. And I wonder if it has been transpiring without us actually officially knowing.
Sure.
That, depending on the regime that we're talking about.
Hey parents, how do you make smarter choices for your kids' college today? That's where Sally can help. With Sally, you can find scholarships, funding options, tools, and guidance all in one place. And if you need a loan, Sally has options for different families and different situations. College is only worth it if you do it right. So don't just help your kid go. Help them go smarter. Sally.com/GoParents.
Want to elevate your travel experience? Here's how. With a Delta SkyMiles Reserve American Express card, you can relax before your flight in the Delta Sky Club with up to 15 visits per medallion year. And now through July 15th, 2026, you can earn up to 125,000 bonus miles, so you're closer to your next adventure. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve card. Check out the new design at www.delta.com/Spotify. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply.
That's probably the most difficult one, but also the one I think where some debate sits around the most because of how much we love Phillip and stuff like that. I've got two more that I want to bring up, but I've been asking a lot of
specific examples.
Well, not even examples, just like maybe criteria that I think would be important to consider. One big question at the end, but if there's anything,
you just go ahead and ask. You've covered a bunch of my list too already, okay, and topics that I haven't thought about too. You just go ahead and finish.
This might be an easy answer, though. This might be an easy one for you to do. Does what they have done post Auburn, good or bad, determine whether they get it? Like. How do I answer? Of course, if they were one of the most notorious villains of all time, they don't get honor. They probably get it right then. But what I'm saying is like their successes post Auburn, Charles Barkley, does that factor into the number retirement, or is it strictly about what they did when they were here? I think most people are going to scream yes, but how do you separate that? Especially
yes,
if
what you scream? Yes, it matters.
It matters. I'm sorry, back up. I would think they would scream, no, it doesn't matter what they do post Auburn. It's just about Auburn. But how do you separate?
I'm. It's not an Auburn player I'm thinking of. I don't need to go there, but I'm thinking of a certain example where I'm like, you would not like it. It just has to be subjective, and it has to be something where, especially if it's an issue of morality. Like if it's a something so heinous of like a,
sure.
I don't want to get morbid here, but something so heinous of like a crime that takes a life or something like it, you would not want to continue to promote that name or on your campus. I would think. I just think that would be in poor taste. But I think too, you also, you have to take into account positive things done as well by certain individuals. I think the one that gets the most animosity around Auburn people, and especially given a few years ago, is Chuck Burson, right? Obviously, not a good look. I can remember Clint fighting people day after day on Twitter about who were already demanding. I mean, the minute it happened, take the banner down. I'm like, some of you didn't even know the banner was up there. Let's just be honest. And so it's kind of like, that's one. And I think, I don't want to speak for Clint, and he's not here to give his own opinion, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I think he was very much emboldened by it. That shouldn't take away what he did at Auburn. And obviously he had a stellar career at Auburn.
Yeah.
But then you look at the flip side, it's like this guy hurt his university in another way, in a different capacity. Where does that scale, balance out, and how does that outweigh what he's already done to earn that number? I don't know. I hate to say it. The cop out of it depends, but it just feels like it does depend. It's very subjective on what the person has done positively or negatively after they leave Auburn, especially before the number is retired.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's your most decision-making room to wiggle. After it goes up, how bad do you want to mess with taking it down? You don't want to do that, I think, but unless it's reaches a certain caliber, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what the answer I'm hearing is it's more about what they did at Auburn, not necessarily what they did post. Is that what I can take away from that?
Yeah. I don't feel like it's black and white, but yeah, I feel like what they did at Auburn should be the one that merits.
Yeah.
If the number is in consideration to be retired, but it's like you're on this list based on what you did at Auburn, but we're still watching over here. I don't know. All
right, we got one more thing I want to do, but I want to add this to this point we're trying to make here. Charles Barkley has called Janai Broome the greatest Auburn basketball player. That's straight from Charles's mouth. Janai is fresh in his NBA career. He hasn't really made it through, burst through onto that. Only 2 years in, right? Barely a year in, whatever. I think it's way too soon for this, but like, could you say what he did at Auburn, what he accomplished here at Auburn? He was Butler Player of the Year award. And he probably should have won it in some people's mind.
Yeah, it is hard because I feel like so much notoriety of Charles, and granted, it's a different day and age of like TV and access and media, but so much of Charles and his connection to Auburn has come since he left, right? Yeah. Like he obviously had a stellar career, but when you factor in his very lucrative, successful NBA career, his very successful career with the U.S. men's national team, and then all that he's done on broadcasting, like as a successful journalist, it's just that adds to it. I think his flair. And so like that is a lot post Auburn, while he already had a lot to stake a claim on successfully at Auburn too. And so it's kind of like with Janai, it's like, I kind of want to see what he does, but is that being fair? And is it apples to apples? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this brings us to the crux of the issue, I think. And this is the criteria that I think is the most important in all this. Everything we just discussed, laying the groundwork works where there are discussions that need to be had in all those different elements. When do you retire someone's number? If, let's say, they have met all qualifications, when does it happen? Because that was the biggest thing around Cam Newton, was like, this should have happened the day he got off campus. And I'm like, folks, chill. Just I had this with Janai last year, and I'm one of the biggest Janai fans out there. And if they decide to retire that man's number, I'm gonna stand up and applaud. I think there is people do not appreciate the recency bias. And I think when we were just discussing the whole Janai, Charles calling him the best Auburn basketball player situation, that kind of demonstrates some of that. There's some recency bias there because we're just riding off the high of it right now.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush. Let's you and I choose a date. When is someone eligible to have their number? How long post Auburn to be retired?
You want like a specific amount.
I want a specific year that
can I propose something to you instead?
Okay, go ahead.
Because it does fit with Cam. I could not go through all the names you mentioned. It does fit with Josh Donaldson. I could not fit with all the names you mentioned though, and see if it connects. I think when their playing career is over, after their professional career is over, you can evaluate. And I think that's
Duana
a time.
Bonner does not match that.
She does not fit in that. Sure. I think, that's fair. But I think that but you're asking me what I would do. I'm not the athletic.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I'm just pointing that out for all information. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that I like that timeline because I like what you get to see what they did professionally. Not that you're making sure that success stays, but it tends to make a little bit more sense to me is that you get your professional career over. And then obviously you can come back for the ceremony if your number is being retired. Your calendar is a little more evened up. I don't know. That just feels like a right time for me. I guess with Cam, let's say it was 15 since he left campus, roughly maybe 14. Josh had been much longer. DeWanna had been much longer. I'm going to say – I'm just going to go with Cam and say 15 years. So I don't feel like I can put a justification behind that, but
no. But I was wanting a time frame here, but I do appreciate your argument for post playing career, because then that fixes the criteria before that. Does what they do post Auburn matter too? That kind of are like, then you can say all you want, that's separated. There's no way you separated. Nobody, just like you can't ignore recency bias, you can't ignore what they did, good or bad, post Auburn affecting your decision about that. And that's where I think you get a more well-rounded discussion about this.
And it's another thing too that's subjective, I think, because like I'm thinking of, there was a huge debate with Steph Curry and Davidson. And Davidson, I think they have a rule. It's like you got to have your number retired, or to have your number retired, you have to have graduated. He had not finished his degree. Obviously, he didn't need to. But then ultimately through, semesters and whatever, comes back and does it, and then they retire his number. Well, his playing career is not over. He's going to be playing for several more years. And so it's like, how long are you willing to wait out a guy's career before you retire their number? Because it's just a matter of fact thing. Like, it's just so you're just waiting on the day. So I hate to play that cop out. That depends, but you asked me for a number, and so I feel like 10 feels short to me. It's a nice round number. 10 feels short to me for some reason, so I'm going to 15.
15, if we're going to go a number, I was 10, at least 10, 15. Yeah. But the more that we've discussed this, the more I'm leaning on your professional playing career must be done. We do have a question in the chat about, does the coaching, if they go into coaching, does it matter too? And I don't know that you can't separate it, but I think you become eligible once you are done playing, because let's be honest, most professional players, they're going to probably, in 10 years is when they start evaluating, I continue on these days, like 10 to 15, somewhere in there, depending on the sport, right? Like, I mean, we've got baseball players playing when they're way old, but like, it's difficult, right? So let me put all this together here, because wow, we've spent a long time on this.
Yeah, no kidding.
Would you like to park the other topic for the week?
Probably. Okay, I hate to do that, because I did good research, but I'm
more excited for that too. A little tease for maybe next episode or something like that. So we'll address that in a second, but let's round this out. Obviously, the funny thing I asked, that they have to be at Auburn. They can be here. If it can be just 1 year, if their accolades are warranted of it, they do have, I think you and I agree, it's probably not going to happen, but we're going to go ahead and set the precedent. They have to finish at Auburn.
Yeah, I feel like the more I think about that, I could not sit right with me. It is if they ended up somewhere else.
Bo Jack, sorry, Bo Nix, the Bo Nix. Sorry.
He's not getting his number retired. People would. Never.
Oh, yeah, don't start that today. That crowd got quieted down finally because they realized how stupid they sound. So don't get them fired up again. At least most of them, anyway. We discussed the uncomfortable post. I can't talk, Austin. Posthumous. I'm just going to start pitching to you every time. Posthumous. Well, I think that one has to be very carefully treaded, and it can't just be for the sake of, but that one should be more in the category of what you brought up of, hey, let's do something special.
Correct.
With the number. We kind of wrapped all this together at the end there. The professional career, all that time frame when it can happen. I think we can settle. Would you be uncomfortable with 10 years being they're eligible?
No, it feels like short to me, just because of how
I'm down for 15 if you want to push for 15.
I feel like 15, it's probably more somewhere in the middle, but I feel like 15 is good with me as far as like when we start, you're on the list, like let's start picking.
So does DeWanna Bonner become the only exclusion that's allowed from this point? Nobody cares what we think at Auburn, but we're just setting our own precedent here. Does DeWanna
because she's still playing.
She's still playing. Oh, she's still going.
No, I mean, you're asking me because she's still playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, probably she's the.
So from this point forward,
I mean, Charles is not playing. Frank's not playing.
No. Josh is done.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. So from this point forward, you and I are saying, and Kyle and Austin, the Auburn Experience podcast criteria, they are eligible they're eligible 15 years even if they're still playing, or when they have to be done playing. Did I say that right?
Yeah, 15 years.
And they have to be done playing.
Now I kind of want to go whichever comes first.
Okay, that's fine. So 15 years or done playing. That brings everybody.
I think I want to go with that. Yep.
And that's DeWanna Bonner right there. That brings everybody. I don't think that excludes anybody from this list.
I kind of want to go that because there's some people like that have had so much success so long, like DeWanna Bonner, that like and I think she was one that you're kind of like, why has this not happened yet? Given the time length since, and given her success post Auburn. I think that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I feel really good about that. 15 years or your playing career is ended, whichever comes first is how you become eligible.
So to finally round out everything in this topic, because wow, we went long with that one. But I'm glad we did. That was a good discussion.
That was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
do you? I'm gonna be honest with you. I had that title, that little blurb, parked in our like notes thing for 2 years now. Like that's how long it's been sitting there. It's how long it's taken us to do this. But I'm glad we waited for Cam to be a great.
Agreed. Yes, agreed.
So, and DeWanna Bonner happened in that time frame too, of her retirement. So I think this really helped with this discussion. I'm going to correct the list I gave earlier because I don't know what I was doing. I'm going to say right now, I'm so sorry. So on all these criteria that we selected, the current people that are, retired at Auburn, Bo, now I'm following up on Pat Sullivan, Cam Newton, Terry Beasley. We've also got Wesley Person with 11, John Milngelt with 15, Mike Mitchell with 30, 32 Rex Frederick, Charles Barkley's 34. By the way, it throws me off every time that 34, the two greatest of that sport, 34.
It's unbelievable.
45, Chuck Person. Don't at me. And you got DeWanna Bonner. Also, did I mention her in the women yet? No, I haven't gone through all the women side of things just yet. We've got DeWanna Bonner, Vicky Orr. Where did they go? Becky Jackson, I think is what it was. Yep. I lost my place.
Also 34. No. I'm sorry. No, she's not.
Ruthie Bolton.
Ruthie Bolton, 34, right?
Carolyn Jones, Becky Jackson, Vicky Orr, Ruthie Bolton. And then there's this weird thing with baseball where it's the Wall of Fame, but technically it's not retired. And you got Tim, Greg, Josh Donaldson now, Frank Thomas. Am I missing anybody? I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Bo.
John Beckwith, is he on there?
Bo. It's okay. It's late, buddy.
You took my Auburn card last week. Now you can take it again. There you go.
It's a different number. It's 29. It's okay.
All right, folks. That's going to do it. We went a long time with that. We'd love to hear your criteria for Auburn and when and how you should retire numbers and jerseys for Auburn athletes. With a quick little note at the end here, we had another major topic planned, but that one went long. We were going to do our Auburn Soccer Mount Rushmore, which I think we're both pretty proud of our lists that we put together. So that's a little tease. Even if you're not an Auburn soccer fan, just come back because I think we've got a really good one coming up for you in the near future. As we go, I want to remind you the Auburn Creed asks you to do justly, to love mercy, to walk humbly with God. We're asking you to do the same. War Eagle.
War Eagle.